Hey guys, BoHD here, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Gear. It's the first smartwatch made by Samsung and is one of the first smartwatches to hit the market. So I'm going to go over what all this watch can do and see if it's worth your money. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Galaxy Gear. So taking a look at the outside of the Gear, this device actually looks really good and really premium, especially for a Samsung device. Now this watch comes in all sorts of colors like black and yellow and gray, but I went with orange because I like orange if you couldn't tell already. But if we take a closer look at the band itself, it has a lot of grooves that give it a nice texture and appearance. Although the real beauty is on the top of the watch, where you'll find a 1.63-inch display surrounded by nothing but glass and metal, which once again makes this device look very nice. It definitely caught me off guard though, because when I first looked at this watch online, it didn't look all that great, but once I saw it in person, I was pleasantly surprised. Now if we flip the watch over, you'll find the watch clasp that can be adjusted to your wrist. But what's really cool about this is that the clasp is actually a speaker, so you can make calls and listen to people, so it's pretty unusual, but cool nonetheless. Now right above the clasp is a protruding 1.9 megapixel camera that looks very out of place if you look at it up close, although everyone I talked to didn't even notice the camera on the watch at all, so it's really not as noticeable as you'd think, but then again, a camera on a watch is pretty random, so people probably won't be looking for it in the first place. But as for how this device functions, the Galaxy Gear is essentially an accessory for your smartphone, since it needs to be connected to your phone at all times in order for it to display information. To do this, all you have to do is tap the charging dock that came with the Galaxy Gear to your phone, and it'll connect using the built-in NFC chip. After you do that, you can change the clock design to whatever you like, and you can change what kind of info is displayed under the clock. Another thing that's cool is that you can download smartwatch-specific apps just for your Galaxy Gear by going to Samsung Apps, and considering this is such a new device, there is quite a few apps available, so that's nice to see. Now as for the watch itself, you can turn it on by pressing the sleep on and off button on the side, or you can just swing your hand up and it'll automatically light up. Now as for the display, it's a 320 by 320 Super AMOLED display that is actually very bright and surprisingly clear. I haven't noticed any problems with the display itself. Even when using it outside, it seems to be pretty easy to see. The real problems with this device start to take place with the device's overall functionality. So for example, to navigate the watch, you can swipe left or right to scroll through your various apps, you can swipe down to go back once you select an app, and you can swipe down to access the camera. Now the camera itself is very strange, mostly because it's so awkward to use. I mean, I've never used a camera on a watch before, and I don't really know anyone else who has, but the controls are very simple. You just tap to take a picture, and you can swipe left to view your gallery. You can access some simple settings in the upper left-hand corner, and you can switch to capture videos in the upper left-hand corner. But the quality of the pictures aren't very good at all. Everything is very dull and noisy, and chances are if you have a phone that's compatible with this device, you might as well use its camera because it's guaranteed to be miles better than the camera on the Gear. So if we go back to the apps, this device really is just a second screen for your smartphone, since all it can really do is show you various notifications, but you can't reply to any of them unless you try and use S-Voice, but S-Voice is absolutely terrible. It was terrible in my first impressions and unboxing video, and it's still terrible after I've had a couple weeks to test this device out. I really think the success of a smartwatch is based off how well the voice recognition software is, so you'd think Samsung would have spent a little more time with this, but they didn't, and you can't choose to use Google Now, so Samsung completely failed in this regard. Though one area that was surprisingly useful was the phone feature, where you can dial someone's number by swiping up on the screen, and you can talk to them by holding the watch up to your mouth. I'll admit it's pretty weird and it looks even weirder, but people were able to hear me crystal clear on the other line, so I can say it actually works pretty well. But with these features in addition to the calling functionality, the Gear has surprisingly good battery life. I have found that if I'm connected to the phone and using the Gear, I can get almost 2 days of use out of it, but the standby time is pretty good and this device charges extremely quick, so even when I needed to plug it in, it was fully charged in less than an hour every time, so that's pretty good to see. Now the biggest problem I've had with the Samsung Galaxy Gear is just trying to find a use for it. I mean, you can call people and take pictures, but it's not something my phone can't already do better, which makes me think that the killer feature is voice recognition. If Samsung spent the extra money to improve S-Voice, I think that this would be the science fiction device we all know and love, but right now it's very bad. But the absolute worst thing about this device is the fact that it's $299 and it needs to be paired with a Samsung device running Android 4.3 or higher. I really don't know what Samsung was thinking here by doing this, because I think if this device were about $100 or $200 and was compatible with all devices running Android 4.1 Jelly Bean or higher, I think we'd be seeing a lot more people wearing the Samsung Galaxy Gear. But until then, we're left with a first generation device that really needs to be rethought by Samsung, which leads me to my question for you guys: what features do you want to see in a smartwatch? Do you want better voice recognition software, or do you want it to be fully waterproof? I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say, so let me know down below in a comment, and you could be featured in my next video. And if you're still watching this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe if you haven't already, because I mean, if you're still watching this video, you must like it to at least some degree. So with that said, that's gonna about do it for this video, guys. If you want to check out my first impressions and unboxing of the Galaxy Gear, you can do that right down below. Or you can take a look at my latest review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 2014 edition if that's something you'd be interested in. But as always guys, I'm BoHD from How To and More. Thanks for watching.